first little pitch, who is Ferrari Electronic? Where are we coming from? As we are a German vendor, of course, we have a long history, founded by Franz Ferrari. At this time, we did some medical technologies, and then we directly in the early 90s, we came out with the first fax card. It was a huge innovation that actually you can use fax on your computer. So we just rendered a little JPEG, put it on the PC, and from there you can actually bring it into digital processes, so far away from the paperwork. And then we found out, okay, wow, this is a big business, just digitalization, and not at least because of there was other systems like Microsoft and Lotus Notes who were giving us giving the customer a completely new platform to communicate. And our challenge was to enrich these platforms with our services. And we found out, hey, come on, this OfficeMaster Gate, this fax card, it was a huge, massive card at this time. We can bring it into an external box because of more and more people asking for virtualization, more and more people asking for scalability and globalization. So how to manage that? And our answer was, okay, we can put this card into a completely autonomous gateway or appliance. This is the silver box. And from there, a huge story begins. In 2014, we also adopt something new. We looked for a solution in call recording. So there we bought a company named Inventive, but here we go on to some later discussions. To our history, we define ourselves always that we have some services, or we do take care of services, and we try to connect leading communications systems like Microsoft, like Lotus Notes, like SAP. And here we always been deeply connected with companies leading that market. We looked at, we talked with partners doing the projects, and we tried to find use cases for solutions, how to bring them on the next level. And over the years, more and more, we found out actually you need to centralize everything, and you need to have a lot of know-how, especially when we talk about a business who is less and less known as a future business. When we talk about fax, it's really about a lot of know-how. Why this process has still been so present at our customers, and what is the future of communication? So right now we talk about a business process called fax, and we need to bring this legacy technology into our new platforms. But what will be the next level of communication? We need to be always connected, and we try to think dynamically into this business processes. And right now we're facing our three pillars of portfolio. We see on the left side our classical or traditional fax, voicemail, SMS portfolio, it's actually pretty asynchronous from the protocol level. When you send the fax out to somebody or an SMS at one point, at a certain point, you hope that the other person will receive it, will read it, and may you get an answer on that communication level. We have in the middle the unified communications level, but we're addressing more and more on the Skype for Business world. Also, when we talk with Cisco about it, it's always about live and synchronous communication. So here, it's a different business model, but we think they are pretty much connected to each other. And on the right side, we see the call recording solution, who is more or less about archiving. So we need to archive a lot of communications. We need to find which talk was interesting. We have to save them somewhere and mark it as good as possible for refinding it. But let's concentrate a little bit more on the unified messaging solution. So the solution we designed for fax, SMS, and voicemail. We hear that question pretty often. Isn't it that this fax communication business? And when I'm talking to our founders, actually, yes, that since 20 years, they say, but it's a well-known process, and a well-known process needs time to, yeah, it will always live as long as you find a new and better process. But for fax, it's pretty well established. And as you're attending this webinar right now, I'm pretty sure you have some use cases at your company or at your customers. It is an established process, and this is not at least because it's traceable. So what means traceable? Traceable because of when you send out a fax, you always have a fax protocol and a copy of it. The other person who received the fax has also the same protocol and a copy of the final document. And between, there are several vendors, like your PBX vendor. There is also an ITSP vendor who knows that there was a communication between you and the other person who received the fax. And when you put all this information to each other, you know why it's traceable, and because of that it's verifiable, and because of that it's a kind of secure. Every lawyer all over the world trusts a fax more than an email, and this is just global acceptance. And it is an end-to-end communication. So when we talk about this end-to-end communication and how it is established, why it is established because of several different use cases can communicate with each other. Like you have a huge company who selling, let's say this, they sell tables, just normal tables. The person who needs to install the tables is more or less a person who is not known to having a known SAP system. But what they do have is a system to send out and receive faxes. Here's where we found our strengths. We think that when you have communication way and you want to enrich other leading communication platforms, it's all about integration. It's really really important to look for the user acceptance. The user needs to accept that the workflow behind this communication. So we talk now about fax. Fax is known as, there is coming out a paper somewhere. You can put it on a site. You can work on it. You can draw on it, and then you can send it via fax back. But we say it's not that different from email. So that's why we try to let it seem like an email. On the right side, you see how the fax transmission will be verified. So you get a little preview how your fax will look like. You get all the meta information, and if you want, you can just answer, you can resend, you can save it, and everything is really managed by the Exchange server. We try to be as far as possible from the desktop. Because of when we try to go on the desktop, you always have to install and client software. The client software needs to be up to date, but all the leading communication systems like Microsoft, like Lotus Notes, like SAP, they do have an interrupt program, and we are a part of all of them. So this is what we're doing since, wow, I think almost 25 years. Since 25 years, we're doing that in the strategy of integrating our solution into other leading platforms. And I think with the newest version, the OfficeMaster 6, we did in addition a really big step, because we're not only looking now more and more for the user acceptance, we look also for the administrator and the system integrator acceptance. And that means to understand how they are working today. And first of all, it's about functions. Hey, I want to have an in and out box for fax, and I want to receive voicemails, including a remote access of the voicemails. But what about the use okay, when it's integrated in Outlook and I don't need an add-on in the Outlook, it's perfect because it will work also on my OVA. It will also work on my iPhone. As long as it's connected, it's working over the Exchange server. Everything is it's fine, and the user works as usual in his own environment. He works every day. And what about integration to other systems? So not only integrate to the Exchange server, integrate into a CRM system, integrate into processes on your ERP. It's definitely always, or sometimes it's really, really important to still have this process of faxing, of printing a copy of the fax. Of course it's deployed. Of course we have it in our solution. And what about the next generation? What is when our our Exchange server is in the cloud? We do have a solution for that. And this is coming, or this is out since we have OfficeMaster 6. We have an Office 365 integration, and this Office 365 integration is as easy as possible. It's a straightforward installation. It's yes, yes, click, click, next, next, I'm done, finished. The first step we had in, I want to have a little technical, more technical introduction here. The Office 365, on our first way, it's just an email server. So what we said, hey, Office 365, it's working as every other email server too. You just need to receive the SMTP mails and then you send SMTP mails. The problem we faced here was actually the administrators to ask us, okay, but then I need a SMTP relay, I need to work with my interop with my firewall. It's a huge mess of configurations. So we found out that there is other ways to do it. By looking very, very deeply to the interop program of Office 365, we found a way. You just need to create a user in your Office 365 environment. You configure that user also on our software side, and it's done. You don't need an SMTP relay. You don't need to take care of firewalling. Everything is as smooth as possible. And the technology behind is quite easy. We don't need an SMTP relay anymore. We don't need an Active Directory anymore. Of course, it's possible to integrate there. It's always possible to make it more complicated than it needs to. And especially in huge enterprise environments, it's always the matter of how transparent is your solution. I think the Office 365 integration was a big thing in OfficeMaster 6. And the other big thing is the direct zip installation, direct zip functionality. Direct zip means that we try to, or other way around, we see that out there are less and less phone systems with traditional wires, ISDN wires, analog wires. It's more and more zip. So of course we can sell your solution for the integration and exchange, and we sell you another bracket for connecting your PBX environment. But now we actually try to merge them together. We say, okay, you just need the OfficeMaster 6 solution. It's just a Windows server. You install it on the Windows server and it's running there. From there, you connect your Exchange environment. From there, you can also connect directly your PBX environment via zip. You can also directly connect your ITSP. It's pretty easy and it's highly scalable. We're looking at the moment for more and more PBX systems and vendors out there, so ITSP vendors, zip trunk providers. And if you're working at the moment with a zip trunk provider who's not listed on our IOP list, not a problem at all. We invest a lot of time and energy to grow this list every month. So please just feel free, contact us, contact our partner at the SciTech, ask them for the integration roadmap of your provider. Also very important is make our solution as understandable as possible. We know that when you sell our software, it's most of the time it's a kind of a topping. You sell a new PBX system, you sell a new Exchange environment, or a new hosted PBX system. And faxes for you, it's a nice topping to sell it in addition to your customer. So it's important for us, and we understand that the licensing system should be as easy as possible. So we just have 4 different versions of licensing: 10 users, 25 users, 250 users, and unlimited users. So unlimited users means you can configure as many users as you want. You always have one connection to your leading communication system for free. So this can be an Exchange server on-premise, an Office 365 on-premise. And if you want more services, you have to buy additional licenses. But when you just buy the OfficeMaster 6 solution, you're able to run a full system instantly. There are 2 lines licensed with it. That means that you have 2 inbound faxes in parallel, or 2 outbound faxes in parallel, or 1 in and 1 out. That means about 500 faxes per day. So the calculation is always that you have 1 site per minute. And when we just go to some examples how to license it, for example, you have a customer with 200 users, he sends 300 faxes per day, and he is using Exchange server on-premise right now together with the PBX. Then, as I said, it's pretty easy. The 250 user license for the OfficeMaster Suite 6 is enough. All the lines, the connection to the Exchange, the connection to your SIP PBX, it's just enough. It's done. If this customer finds out that he actually needs more lines, then you just add some lines afterwards. It's super simple. And to make it a bit more complicated, I have an additional example. Here we have a customer with 300 users, 3,000 faxes per day, and 3,000 faxes per day. That looks challenging, but I will show you the calculation later on. In Exchange and in addition as SAP system. So we can cover the 3,000 users directly with the OfficeMaster Suite unlimited version. Then we cover the SAP system with an additional connector. And we need 6 additional channel lines. So because we think, hey, 3,000 faxes per day, 2 lines are not enough. The calculation behind this, we have 3,000 faxes, 8 hours office time, and every hour is 60 minutes. As we said that every fax page needs about 1 minute. We see that we need 6.225 faxes in parallel per minute. That means, hey, 2 are already included. When I upgrade my solution on 6 additional lines, I have 8 lines available, and that should be enough for our fax solution. Especially when, please always think about that fax is an asynchronous protocol. If you send out your fax and the other side receives it just 1 hour later because of its queuing in your fax server, it's not a big problem. Yeah, that's basically it. The fundamentals of our solution is that we always try to integrate ourselves. We know that we have very, very good technologies who fitting to your use cases you have out there, and we just need to enrich them. We need to connect to the fundamentals down there, to the SAP, Lotus Notes, Exchange, and whatever is out there on leading communication systems. And we have to integrate our solution into them to enrich your companies on that scale. Here I have some references, customer references, who are pretty cool. If you have any question, I can answer them to, I think, pretty much all of the customers. And at that point, I thank you very much for attending this webinar. Thank you again to Cytec who make all this possible. Thanks, Samara. And we'll use this last slide to just make your attention to the following webinars that we organize together with Cytec.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Dirk. And as people can see, we do have some upcoming webinars actually related to your call recording solutions, and also in relation to how Ferrari Electronic, how your solutions are around the Microsoft Cloud Connector editions and what you do in regards to your solutions for that. And I think let's jump into a couple of questions from the audience. So first question is in regards to are there any limits? So you mentioned the channels or the lines that can be expanded in the OfficeMaster Suite software. Are there any limits in that regards, or what should a system integrator be aware of when purchasing extra lines or extra channels?
No, actually there is no natural limits. When I talk about the natural limit, that means that from the development side, there is no limit that we have hard-coded inside. If you want to have a fax project and you need 2,000 lines in parallel, you can be for sure that this will work, not at least because of it's a nice project for us and we will take care of it, that it will work. There is no natural limit of parallel fax infrastructures. From the business perspective, we face that really often, that actually partners, more or less, when we talk about 20 or 30 lines, it's always a discussion, okay, how to make the solution highly available at the customer side.
Yeah, to provide high availability. Yeah.
We install us then in your Geo cluster. We can install us on the Azure solution. We have answers for all of that.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So we have a follow-up, we have another question. So what are the benefits? You mentioned the Ferrari Electronic solutions around voicemail. What are the benefits for a 3CX, let's say a 3CX system integrator that have deployed a PBX that already offers a voicemail solution? What would be the benefit of looking at Ferrari Electronic for this case here, for such a particular scenario?
So what we have, actually not that many vendors have, is a really deeply integration into Active Directory and Exchange. So if you're looking for a very, very deep integrated solution who is still working on your iPhone, who is working on your Outlook client without any add-ins, then we are a good choice. We can interoperate together with 3CX, but in the first place, we developed the strategy, or the product line was, we saw that out there is a huge gap in voicemail solutions. You have a very, very powerful solution like Cisco has it. It's almost in every license it's included, the voicemail solution at Cisco, but nobody is able to configure it. And here we have we designed a solution that's really easy to install, and it's really powerful. On the other side, you have a very easy to install and powerful solution on the Microsoft side. The Microsoft Exchange voicemail integration, or the own voicemail, unified communication voicemail from the Exchange server itself. It's super easy to deploy. It's super nice, but it's pretty much expensive. And we see a huge market gap between. And this is what we try to focus. 3CX is a special case. So 3CX, actually, they do have a nice voicemail solution that's pretty easy to install. If you're looking for something who is pretty deep integrated to Exchange, then we can talk about it.
Excellent, very good. Let's jump to another question. It's a little more technical, so I'll try if I can explain it correctly. So if we have an OfficeMaster Suite solution installed on the LAN, what would be the difference, or what are the different options? What's feasible in terms of letting the OfficeMaster Suite talk directly to, let's say there is an existing, let's say analog FXO gateway already installed on site, or compared to via SIP, if that speaks SIPs, or let the OfficeMaster Suite speak directly to a SIP PBX, whatever you may have deployed. If you can expand a little bit or talk a little bit around that, what are the options? What are the benefits?
It's a pretty technical question, or at least the answer is pretty technical. So please contact me after if it's not enough. We can go very deeply into that. But the easy answer is, every time you break the medium from analog to zip, from zip to fax, then it's really often broken just on this side. On the other side, it's also at least three times broken. And this makes the protocol pretty unstable. As I said, fax is an end-to-end protocol. That means that the fax protocol is designed that the one fax device is communicating over a telephone line, so pretty stable, without latency, without packet loss. They talk directly with each other. Now we have IP between, and IP mix everything up. There is a lot of mechanisms to make it still work, but at least when less and less components try to interrupt with the SIP protocol, as better is the quality of the fax at the end. What means when you have the opportunity to connect our fax solution directly with your ITSP or directly with your SIP trunk provider, that's perfect. If you connect our solution with, let's say, Beronet or Sangoma Gateway, who's managing your analog lines, perfect, easy, because of then we have, again, not that many media breaks in it. That was just a very short introduction, but I actually have a 30 minutes presentation to explain this a little bit more. So please feel free to contact.
That's fine. If further clarification is needed, of course, people can send us an email. But I think that covered it well. But actually, that actually allows us to jump on to the next question. So you mentioned that an ideal scenario is to have the OfficeMaster Suite speak directly to the SIP trunk provider. So if we're looking at an example of a customer or system integrator, let's say in Saudi Arabia or Bahrain, and they are using, let's say, Office 365, can the OfficeMaster Suite itself be deployed in the cloud and then directly be connected to the SIP trunk provider? If it's sitting in the cloud, can it also easily speak to the gateway that's available on premise? What are the best practices in that kind of scenario? If somebody wanted to virtualize the OfficeMaster Suite in the cloud.
I need to admit there is no best practice at the moment. There are solutions where you need to terminate your telephone lines on premise, but you want to run the solution in the cloud. So, hey, feel free to do that. That's really not a problem at all. Because of, again, the media break is then in the cloud or it's on premise because of our gateway would be on premise. The gateway and the solution itself, so if we talk about that, there is no media break anymore. It's just a TCP protocol. We covered that pretty well. 20 years of deployment. And on the other side, when you say, "Hey, I got my provider," let's say, what was the ITSP you mentioned?
So there are different in Saudi Arabia, STC or Bahrain and so on. There are various providers in India.
Let's say STC, just as an example. When STC has a hosting customer and STC says, "Hey, I want to give that customer all the experience. I manage his connection for Office 365. I manage his phone lines. Why I should not also give him the possibility to manage his fax solution? Why not? Then please, we can deploy our solution in the STC headquarters, in the data center of STC, and let it run out from there." It's actually a pretty easy to install solution. Plus, we are directly on site to the ITSP. What means there is no latency, there is no packet loss on network. That would be a beautiful scenario. And to covering out of the data center the connection to Office 365, nothing easier than that, huh?
Excellent, very good. I think we've covered the majority of the questions. So what you say in summary, the OfficeMaster software suite, very easy to install, very easy to deploy. It's also very easy to get demo licenses. That's maybe also a point we can just highlight. Let's say we are now we're a system integrator. We've listened to this presentation here, and we're sitting in the Middle East, and now we want to try it with one of our customers. Is that feasible? Is that doable? How would that work?
Thanks for reminding me here at this point. First of all, we're talking about a software solution. It's possible to deploy everything just in software, and we're really open to give that software away for testing, for a testing period. So if you want to see it, you want to feel it, you want to install it your own, you can directly ask for a test license on our website. On our website at ferrarielectronic.com, you find directly the chance to ask for a test license. You get this test license by email. The test license is available for at least 30 days. It's super easy. Actually, also a very, very preferred way, or the way I prefer even more, is just ask the site tech, ask us to have a look. Let us go together through that test environment. Give us the chance to show you how easy it is and what for chances you have to adapt your business. We're really open for that, especially when you're a system integrator and you're facing several customer scenarios. Of course, it's important to talk about several scenarios and not only about this little test installation in your laboratory.
Excellent, very good, Dirk. I think we've covered all of the points. So we're going to say thank you very much, Dirk, for taking the time and for doing the presentation. We're going to say thank you very much to all the attendees. As we mentioned previously, be sure for everyone to keep an eye out on our website for any upcoming webinars. We can already see in the presentation here that we have some other webinars scheduled with Ferrari Electronic coming up. And if there are any follow-up questions, whether they're technical, commercial, if anyone wants a BOQ constructed around the OfficeMaster software suite, then as we mentioned, please be sure to send us an email at sales@sitec.ae or contact your normal salesperson, and we'll be sure to reach out. So thank you very much, Dirk, and thanks to everyone for attending. We look forward to seeing you at the next webinar.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.